Hello and welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. I'm Michael Sidgwick, joined by fellow Dudley boy Michael Hamflett to discuss everything that went down on last night's show. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure to subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube for daily wrestling podcasts where we preview and review Dynamite, Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have wrestler interviews on occasion, roundtable discussions, question and answer time, a different treat coming your way tomorrow. And we host a roundup of the week complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. Now, if you're on YouTube, you've worked it out already. If you're on a podcast, our usual host, Adam Wilborn, has got car troubles. A ridiculous excuse. I'm furious. A ridiculous excuse, but nonetheless, he is not here. Therefore,
it's not like a wrestling thing. He's not going to burst in halfway.
No.
The announcers have said it.
Yeah.
He's a shoot card.
Yeah. So the wonderful dramatic recaps of the matches will not be happening. I'm not very good at recapping. I'll hopefully remember the finishes and some of the bits I liked. But yeah, inferior podcast material today. Michael Hamflett.
I like that.
Wilborn's excellent at his job.
Yeah.
And you will find that out. It's like when someone leaves the promotion and you think, it's all right, we've got loads of good talent. And then they go and it's like, no, that person was great.
All the stars are here.
And then Adam Wilborn was great at his job.
I like that, sort of honesty. Do you think if AEW in 2023 and 2024 had started every Dynamite with that level of honesty? We're really sorry, guys. We're doing our best.
And
all of a sudden, the expectation level would change. And we're like, God bloody bless them.
Yeah. But instead they're going, they're great.
Yeah.
We're great. What do you think of this Dynamite?
It's just good every week. It's never great. I don't know where I'm at with AEW. I do. I'm positive about AEW. But it's never great. I don't raw at anything, really. There is one program. Here's my big sweeping statement before we get into the show proper. There is one program within AEW that I wish there was a single thing to do with the WrestleMania build, maybe beyond Jane Gunther, but other than that, a single thing I cared about as much as this one program AEW has got. It is that good. It has got its hooks into me that deep already.
Yeah.
That I am looking upon this product and mostly thinking, good show. And then when this one thing happens each week, I think, God, I wish something on the road to WrestleMania was as good as this.
Yeah.
So,
and that's Dr. Fed
saying that. In time of year and in terms of comparison, I just expected everything like that to be happening in WWE to that degree, and it isn't at the moment. And then I see this one foohead unfolding week on week in AEW, and I'm like, wow, does that technically currently make this the best thing on North American TV? I think it probably does. And there was more evidence of that here, and I watch it and get excited to come and talk to you guys about it and whatever. Elsewhere, you guy. Elsewhere, just good, but you gotta just be good for ages. Never underestimate the importance of good, even with the absence of great.
Yes, absolutely. My broad take on it was very similar. It's good. The promise of it being good in the short to medium term is starting to really reveal itself. The card for Revolution looks good, but I'm also excited about it as a show, not just a mere collection of good matches.
Almost suggests that the zones are starting to erode a little bit.
Yeah. But ultimately, I would be lying if I sat here and said with my February 2020, summer of 2021 brain, my God, my soul's on fire at this absolute majesty. I will say that the move, and it's an anti-insight because everyone agrees, everyone said it, everyone knew it had to be this way, and when it actually happened, then AEW belatedly did it. It worked, shock, horror. This move to the theaters from these cavernous, empty, echoey arenas has been instrumental to this quasi feeling of we might be getting somewhere. This crowd was awesome.
Yeah.
It feels like the hot, receptive crowd is now a fixture of Dynamite again. There's still something missing. I don't know if it's the true creative flair, the Death Riders. There's something in my gut that is telling me we're not back yet. Do you agree with that? It's just
I think I know what it is. I actually think it's a lack of a singular figure doing something so incredibly awesome that you can't wait to the point of anxiety. When are they getting here? When are they getting here? There are several top stars in the mix in a really exciting and captivating way, but there isn't that singular figure right now that you wish it would be their segment. Or when a little graphic flashes up saying coming up later on. When are we getting to that bit? That Fireworks Factory wrestler.
Yeah.
Like there's a couple that are candidates for that.
Yeah.
But because we're still on mostly the good trajectory rather than the great, it's just missing that one. You've been doing loads of stuff on this wrestler, so we've ended up talking about him a lot lately. But it's the Steve Austin effect of 96, 97, when a lot of it is merely good.
Yeah.
But Steve Austin is like generationally great.
Yeah.
I think the lack of that on the show is apparent, made worse by the main event picture not being that exciting.
Yeah.
With that, or with the careful management of a couple of top stars that feel like they're slotting back into top star roles again, I think we'll see a return of that post-Revolution.
Yeah, it's not very snappy, but we are on the grinding out results era.
Yeah.
Grinding out results era in front of an appreciative set of fans. As an example, and it's a nice segue into the opening of this show, MJF isn't, oh my God, he's the best heel of a generation. He's invincible. He's going, the world is his, and he's just going to sort of own it when he sees fit. We're not there with MJF, but he's getting back into form and he's becoming MJF again. So I think that might be the difference. The world is not being taken over, but we are taking furtive steps into a new direction. Long may it continue. So we get the Hangman, Adam Page, and MJF face-to-face. Again, I apologize. I'm not very good at the dramatic recaps, nor am I very good at remembering things. This will be a more scattershot approach, but the basic gist is MJF comes out for the face-to-face. They are flanked ringside by security because there's been a promise that no physical contact. MJF finds a loophole, as he does, is taking place. My overall take on this, before I get to the actual recap, is still a bit long, but nonetheless very effective. So MJF comes out, and he's telling himself this as much as he's telling Hangman Page, I sold out Wembley Stadium. It was literally the biggest wrestling show of all time. I was the best international champion ever. I was the best world champion and the longest reigning world champion ever. And then he says to Page, I'm better than you, and I'm better than everybody, and you know it. But he specifies this to Page, but really I think he's trying to convince himself that he's MJF again. Hangman Page says, why are you telling me this? You've accomplished so much, you're only 28 years old, but there is something that you haven't got and you won't be able to ever get. And he doesn't say it out loud, does he? But he's basically saying the adulation and the respect of the crowd. And MJF is sort of, like, I don't care about the fans. You think I care about those poor schmucks and all the rest of it? And the best line of this segment, because I really felt something when the crowd agreed with MJF, a wonderful decision, I think, by MJF. He says, oh, you think you're the main character? And then everyone in this theater goes, yes, he is. They don't chant yes, but they just basically cheer unanimously. Then he goes through Hangman Page's sort of crime spree. It's fine if you're Hangman, not Moxley. Yes, in fact, I am a hypocrite. He says you drank a man's blood, you attacked veterans, you drove a syringe into an opponent's face, you burned a man's house down to ash. A great cheer here. Just the juxtaposition of Hangman Page being the main character, redeemable, can get away with anything, and that's the difference between the two men fundamentally. He says they'll chant cowboyish, and he tries to get the crowd going. That's disappointingly quiet, I think, but it's better that the organic things hit more than MJF trying to drive that reaction. He says, after everything, do you love yourself? Did you love yourself when you ended the career of your mentor, that worthless coward, Christopher Daniels? He calls him a jobber hack as well, which I really, really appreciated. That's when Page gets pissed. He says he's 10 times pronoun boy. Christopher Daniels is the man MJF will ever be. And a really touching moment. No one was chanting Fallen Angel as Page and Daniels had their interactions. Yeah. But that match was so great. And people had the perspective of, all right, he's actually retired. Let's give him the respect. He gets a massive Fallen Angel chant. Page said that Christopher Daniels gave part of his life to every single company that he's been in. He's fought for his life in the ring till the very end. Daniels, Page says, would not have had it any other way. Took care of wrestling even when it didn't take care of him. And and it's the humility. Page says that MJF doesn't understand. MJF doesn't have the stomach for it. He's a selfish coward. Took every shortcut thinking he'd get the love of the fans. I hate doing recaps. I'm very, very sorry. But the basic gist of the promo is that MJF says that this world was built for you. You were the main character. It was set in stone that you were going to do this. He just skirts the line of they booked you to win matches. Mm-hmm. He doesn't say that, but that's what he's saying. But he very delicately and intelligently, in my opinion, basically says you were given the ball to just pass it into an empty net. Like you were set up for promotional opportunity after promotional opportunity. There's an intense standoff because the climactic line is that Page says to MJF, there's one thing missing from you, and what's the difference? And going back to something that Eddie Kingston has said to MJF, various people have said to MJF, a big part of MJF's act, he says, you are not real. MJF then spits after saying, I'll be the bad guy if you want to be the main character. He then spits in Hangman Page's face. His trajectory is outstanding because the spittle is dangling
it's gross.
Horribly. It's gross from Hangman Page's face, and Hangman Page is pissed off enough. It's his resting state at this point. Hangman Page is held back by the security guards. He starts to chin them, but Christopher Daniels, to a really rousing and quite nice chant of Fallen Angel, comes in and says, that's the Hangman Page I know.
I thought this was incredible.
This is incredible stuff.
Incredible.
A bit long, but incredible.
Yeah, worth the TV time for me, this. Because plenty gets wasted on the wrong people, as has been an issue in AEW for the longest time. And I would, if you're going to waste some or accidentally use too much, do it on the people that matter the most and the stories that matter the most. And this is absolutely that. I would go as far to say this is maybe my favourite AEW segment of the year, actually. They've hit upon the best linking the two characters together segment so far at the exact right point. The Hangman Page MJF issue that's been bristling since the Jeff Jarrett MJF stuff was out of the way, yo.
Out of the way, yo.
But not all completely by accident. We can't call this a pivot because Hangman was there as well. It started overlapping the two.
I felt like this was going to go to Dynasty.
Yeah, I think they've just gotten there a little bit quicker. Maybe reading the room a bit.
Yeah.
And smart read as well. So you know that all of these details and all of these kind of little connections would have been talked about and thought about for the day that this was to come. And now today's the day, I guess, maybe a little bit sooner than planned. But it's not like everything hasn't been in service of it up to this point. And I talked about this last week. There was a sense on Dynamite, it was not just last week, but in recent weeks, where a bunch of the main characters, to use the terminology, finally applied to Hangman Page on screen in a way that's been used by his fans forever, since AEW launched. That with Page and MJF and others, the Young Bucks working from home, Kenny Omega physically worn down, and John Moxley lost his mind, lost his head.
Yeah, the plot has been lost.
There is a real sense, without needing to say it out loud, and none of them ever should, that these are the scars of 5 years running hard. AEW is leaving its mark. Working at the top level within AEW is starting to leave its mark on people physically and emotionally and mentally. And you're seeing how they're all these. This is not AEW, just like you remember. It's anything but that.
Yeah.
They're all changed. They're all developed. They're all in
You're
some ways
living in a dark time.
Yeah, and in some ways, it's had done a number on them. And for this to be the week where MJF at first tries to lump main character syndrome on Hangman Page, a trait that when we describe it of people, it's a negative. Oh, they've got main character syndrome. It's this known negative as a way to describe somebody that's self-obsessed or self-absorbed.
And the irony is that Page is such a good guy that he would never himself think of that.
He would be the last guy to do that, right, as this thing is placed upon him. MJF does that with this reasoned and fairly articulate argument, so you think, and wrestling's a dance, and you should arm your opponent with ammo to fire back at you. It's the magic of the Punk MJF stuff every single week. Hangman Page, immediately throwing that back onto MJF and being like, yep, tick, 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 and you never got this, exposes that everything MJF is doing is rooted in jealousy and desperation to be him. And again, he never has to say it.
Yeah.
He never has to say it. And I just thought for that to be the linking, sort of like inciting incident almost between these two beyond just, you want to fight? Them's fighting words. Let's fight, and shoulder barges and all the rest of it. This to make use of the fact that Double or Nothing 2019 was like the two of them with Bret Hart in the middle, with that world title in the middle, and like MJF being able to use his, a bit Miz-like, being able to use his Wikipedia to say, I did it, mate.
Yeah.
Where's your accolade? I did this and this and this and this and this. Where's yours? And then for Hangman Page to be like, as a lot of people should do with the Miz, your Wikipedia means nothing, mate. And you know that, and I know that, and now I'm making you confront that. I thought that was absolutely inspired. All of a sudden, this rivalry feels like bone deep. 5 years bone deep. And it can take in, and as MJF verbalized with the Swerve details like the burning house and the drinking blood, it can now take in everything else these characters have done. Yeah. And it makes use of the fact that even when there's been missteps with both these men, even when there's been creative missteps, they can be made right by a story. MJF's wonky babyface turn can now be made part of this story. Yeah. Hangman Page's like lack of creative focus can be made part of the story because MJF can be said, you were giving it all and you failed, mate. Yeah. All of that now just gets canonized.
You can fictionalize it. Yeah. You can fictionalize it as well without
inspiring stuff.
This is the best means of addressing, honestly, AEW's failings. It was never going to be amazing forever. You were the first person to say this, you know? A way of honestly addressing AEW's failings without doing this really blunt, disastrous Death Riders deal, but accepting
or the pig in the mouth that's still good. It's not that either.
No, it's you what they're able to use this storied history of AEW and like the emotional texture of it is a really effective fictional device. It's so much more elegant than the Death Riders, but you can use the same kind of sources there. Ultimately, we've always talked extensively about AEW. People don't like necessarily a lot of the state of company addresses that we are guilty of. A lot of other analysts and fans are. It's just a very unique promotion in a lot of ways. So I do think that is almost inevitable to analyze at such a deep level, especially when everyone projects their own hopes of what other companies are going to save wrestling. Well, that's my fandom saved. Is it anybody else's fandom saved? You know? And we've been brutal. I'd like to think brutally honest and good faith about our problems with the promotion, how they've failed to address certain things, how at times it just feels like the plot has been lost. But what I will say in its defense is that this made me feel like it was a promotion worth fighting for without ever doing a rah-rah speech, you know, without ever doing a rah-rah speech. Because if you had a thought, right, you're watching, it's very pointed that they talked about Double or Nothing 2019, the very first show, because on that very first show, you noticed, yes, there was a little bit of like shifting around the story beats with Pac's absence, and that drew Page and MJF together, who might not have interacted if the original plans had unfolded as they were meant to do. But you saw MJF and Hangman Page linked narratively. He called him Seabiscuit. Remember when MJF was like, oh, Brett, someone's going to attack you? That was just absolutely magic as well. But beyond that, so MJF and Hangman Page are linked, and I think that, yes, it's, you know, a forced move, but nonetheless, it's a clever one because they were telling you these are the guys we're going to build around. Kenny, Cody, Jericho, Mox, that's the short to medium term. MJF, Hangman, that's your long term. And if you had a thought, right, okay, you can measure the success of AEW if they can get MJF and Hangman Page in a position to have this incredible rivalry 4, 5, 6 years down the line. And in spite of absolutely everything, they have in fact got there. Hangman Page is considered the main character. MJF, yes, had a wobble for about 18 months there, but he's really getting back into it. And this has almost got more pathos as a result. The verbal performances were out of this world, as you would expect. I did think they could have got to the point a little bit sooner, but that's just a tiny pedantic criticism. This is everything I wanted it to be 5 years ago when I was like, can't wait to see them feud. Cannot wait to see them feud one day.
The match without a belt and without just any
feels like the hottest thing in the company.
It is, yeah. Like without any pro wrestling nonsense being stapled onto it, the match will, like, not that Hangman Page needs this and that's not his character, but the match gets to prove one of them right, and that's a title within itself. If MJF wins this match, he can feel vindicated of all the kind of arrows he's fired at Hangman Page. If Hangman Page wins, he will know he will force MJF to either A, become introspective, or B, lash out towards somebody else.
Yeah.
And that is that like kind of sense of consequence that I've desperately missed from the big AEW matches, when belts have replaced that, or a lack of a story that you really feel like has got a lot of words to it. Like, this doesn't need a title. The winner and loser, and they will give you a winner and a loser here, like, that matters. Wins, and it gets right back to the old days. The wins and losses matter here, really matter.
I really like as well how they're not doing the TV match.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that, because quietly AEW has implemented that 50-50 thing. And it's not as egregious as, Dean Ambrose losing to EC3 and then beating him literally the same week. It's like, what have we done for the past fortnight?
Yeah.
But there is an insidious kind of, do the job on TV in a longer match and I'll do it on pay-per-view. None of that. This feels all or nothing drama. I'm really, really into this. Let's move on. There's other stuff I'm into. Not quite as much as this, but it was a pretty strong show.
I think
overall.
it's better than anything WWE has on the docket for WrestleMania as we record this.
Yeah.
I'm saying that ahead of Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Things getting clearer. I think it's the best thing on North American TV right now.
Yes, absolutely. I think that the crowd responses would definitely back that up as well. And there's a video package, Grand Slam recap shown. And then we go backstage. Renee Paquette interviews the Undisputed Kingdom ahead of the main event, which was Roderick Strong against Orange Cassidy. Destined to dance forever. I don't know how many matches they have, but it doesn't feel like that was... I think Roderick Strong, love him. Thought he was great in the main event. Sometimes just says stuff.
Yeah.
Wrestlers sometimes just say stuff. Strong also says that, look, Cassidy is friends with Kyle O'Reilly, but it won't stop me from defeating Orange Cassidy. And then there's a reference to the conglomeration, which I completely forgot about. It was literally only last year. And goes, it's more of a vibe, isn't it? The conglomeration.
Aye.
They're an actual faction. That's what O'Reilly says. He says, boy, but Roddy's going to have to break his back. Sorry about that. AEW likes its continuity, even if it's not necessarily necessary.
Do you think that if they'd not inserted this interview, come main event time, one of us snarky little arseholes on the internet would have been like, oh, so much for the conglomeration, mate.
Yeah.
In their minds, they're thinking, let's just get across it.
Let's just get across it. Yeah, absolutely. That was an informed a cute moment at the beginning of the match as well. First match on the show, the Ops, which if you don't know is the new name for the trio of Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata, defeated the Patriarchy Triumvirate of Christian Cage, Nick Wayne, and Kip Sabian, and they were, of course, joined at ringside by Nick Wayne's mom, who, of course, has got it going on. Wilborn will enter you as in his absence.
He will, yeah.
He will enter you. Look, this match was...
Tell the kids.
This match was hardly a great trios match. Fun little start, predictable little end is how I would describe this. So Samoa Joe and Shibata take turns toying with Sabian early, where they just trip him up. It's quite funny. I was like, you're nothing to us. We'll just trip you up and just like rub your face in the dirt. Some chicanery allows Kip Sabian to get an advantage. There's some double team action as we go into the commercial break. Shibata is the one, I believe, being double teamed as we come back. He looks a little bit ropey when he's trying to fend them both off. There's a few awkward moments, and then it just kind of ends, really, with the baby faces do some ostensibly cool stuff, and then it ends. I mean, I can't really say anything else. I mean, the rundown, I'm sorry, there was nothing wrong with that rundown. I basically captured everything. There just wasn't anything to it at all, really. They have given them a cool little shortcut. When the Ops come out, they're the three cool guys. I personally still think it's a bit try-hard and forced, but they give them a bit of pyro.
Yeah.
Bit of bombast, a bit of spectacle behind them. It helps.
Logo on the flashes on the screen. It's for real, isn't it? It's not just been... It has just been kind of thrown together, but they're trying to give you the illusion that it hasn't been.
Yeah, absolutely. What are your thoughts on this? Is this the end of all of this as well?
Well,
this Hook Christian Cage stuff? I sure hope so.
I think it is. The first point... Actually, I'll come back to that for a second, because I want to bring up something that we discussed over the desks today, Sidge, and I want you to ponder this over the next few days, but it's something that we can welcome our listeners and viewers into. I offered today, Sidge, not a double or nothing pasty bet, but a double or quits, because that's what we call it over here.
Double or Greg's.
Double or Greg's. as our regular listeners and viewers
It makes
will
no
know,
sense. It'd be double Greg's or nothing, but whatever.
Greg's or nothing.
Yeah.
It's Greg's or nothing.
Yes.
We've had a pasty bet that is effectively already settled. I lose them all the goddamn time. Only one I ever won was Cody winning the right belt. Because you were just full of beans when they introduced the old world title. Cody's winning the piece of trash. So I won one once, but otherwise I never win them. And I said I wanted to.
That was my disdain for the Fed, not for Cody. Just to clarify.
I wanted to hope against hope. I wanted to hope against Cope that they weren't possibly going to drag Cope and Mox the Revolution. And you were like, Hamflett, you dumb young idiot.
You think Cope is going to be a TV challenger?
And you were right. And I haven't had to pay up yet because the bell hasn't rung.
He's not very playful, but he knows how to play the game.
Yes. So they haven't got in the ring yet, but it's happening. And I'm going to have to pay up with the pasty. Pay the piper. However, I have today offered you Greg's a quits.
I'm pondering it.
That is tied to this as much as what happened at Grand Slam. Because I've offered you a Greg's or quits that, yes, all right, I will probably have to give you a pasty for the match, but would you consider killing the pasty bet if my latest stakes that John Moxley...
Your latest steak bake.
That's good stuff.
It's all good stuff.
We don't do bits, but that is good stuff. That John Moxley will not leave Revolution with the AEW title. Somewhat unexpectedly, because we're all told we're waiting for Darby Allin, but I've based that not just on the actions of Grand Slam, but actually on the actions of this very seemingly inconsequential match. So the Ops get the win.
It was very inconsequential.
Sure was. The Ops get the win, and just a very quick note on that.
Quite a witty little match, and then it just trended into a predictable...
This is one of them, that's not for me, and that's fine. I think some people like the Ops. I think some people are performatively enjoying the Ops, but I think some people like the Ops, and I think just, for them... Joe and Shibata will be forever. Hook's better off here than dying on the vine on his own.
Yeah.
And some people want to bargain for Hook for the rest of his days. So, fine. It's not for me, but I don't think they're hurting anyone being this, fundamentally. Christian being done with this now, the patriarchy being done with this now, does kind of clear the way for him to do nothing.
Yeah, he's out of the zone.
Yeah, no zone.
He's zoneless.
Zoneless as we head to Revs, Vodka Revs. The start of March with him still carrying the clipboard.
God, I keep forgetting this exists.
Yeah. And the fact that Cope lost and the way we'll get to it in a bit, the way that it was weirdly glossed over on Dynamite as if it was like it took place on a house show that we didn't see, right? Has made me think that Mox has politicked one to give one and that Cope will beat him at Revs and then Mox will roll the old floor ski. It'll be fun. And then Cope will get cashed in on, and Christian ends the show. And then it's like Mox wasn't even there, man. And he does whatever he does down the line. I don't know, but like,
don't care.
This, okay. This is why Grand Slam happened the way it did, and the way it was brought up later on, and why Christian is now Dunsky Jones with the Ops and everything else surrounding that. Done with the fluffy stuff. Yeah, because there's a big cash in coming his way.
Well, I disagree, but I'll have to determine.
If it happens, and it doesn't happen, should I say, you're in Two Pasty City.
I'm in
a hell of a place to visit.
Good city. They're all good cities. I don't know yet if I agree, because Cage, it just feels like, have they got any plan? Because when he won when did he win it? He won it all in. Mm-hmm. It really felt like the plans changed, like big time, in and around All In for what Danielson's title reign would be. That would certainly explain really bizarre booking patterns and retcons and fault, like the Darby losing the shot and willingly giving it up, and all sorts went on there. Too much to cover here. I don't think they have a plan for that. I think they have a failed cash in against Darby, personally. But I don't know how sure I am in my convictions yet, so I'll leave you in suspense. I'll reveal on the Dynamite preview. What a hook. We'll have to buy me 2 passes or 1.
I think people are going to be into that, Sidge.
Well, let us know on X at WhatCulture WWE.
Me outside of Greg's. Like those people when they're holding the phone bill. We didn't order this pornography that's been now telling me with the 2 steak, mate.
He orders pornography.
Hey, sure
we see highlights of... it was funny, there was a little thing on Twitter about the finish on Global Wars of Jericho taking the Bandito finish. Just looked like a fridge. He looked like
Christopher Refrigerator Perry.
What's it, the the suplex that he does.
It's like supposed to be like, it's supposed to have a bit of snap.
Yeah, a bit of snap.
And he kind of slides over the top.
Christ, my bloody legs have gone. He looked like a fridge taking that move, so I was like, did he botch that on purpose so it wouldn't have to be broadcast on Dynamite that he did a job? But no, in fact, it was shown, the highlights were shown of the fridge getting suplexed by Bandito. I'm not, if he can't...
Ocho, nuevo, friggio.
He can't bump.
No.
Anymore.
No, he ain't good.
However, Jericho himself would disagree vehemently with this because he takes issue with Renee Paquette, who, in a really, just a signature, really good performance, is almost unable to contain her glee that, you lost Jericho despite all your chat, and he instantly is just like, forget about the goddamn bounty. I will take on Bandito on Collision. I'll put up the world title on the line. And then he gets pissed off with Renee Paquette. He says, I don't know why you're smiling. You wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for me. Chris Jericho was the guy who made AEW what it is. And there's a lot of people getting a little too comfortable around Chris Jericho. Well, this is a bit of a, recurring bit on this podcast. Every now and then, we'll bust this one out. Sidgwick Conspiracy Corner. Do you reckon, even if he might have been talking about Cope, that Chris Jericho has heard what Ricky Saints might have said about him and Cope and has decided he's all pissed off?
Maybe.
Or is this a new direction about him being taken seriously in AEW? Because who's going to want to see that?
I think it might be that, because he just pretty much dropped Learning Tree Chris Jericho, didn't he? There was no, hi guys, there was none of the vocal affectations. No. It was just like, everybody shut up. Remember 2019, assholes? There was a real defiance about, that we haven't had for ages from him about anything.
Yeah.
There was a defensiveness to it, which again, if you were, Renee was so great that if you wanted to just canonize this completely within the fiction of AEW, you would say he's lashing out at her and potentially sideways lashing out again at Big Bill, because there's been that dissension for a while. But in every other aspect of his performance here, this was like death to the Learning Tree.
Yeah.
The wackiness was gone. The faraway stare, the voice, he was Chris Jericho, damn it, and he was cross.
And he meant business.
But
him meaning business means he's probably... This just frightened me that he's going to be elevated into something of more narrative significance. And with AEW, maybe he's thinking... AEW seems to be getting a little bit more positive feedback of late. Well, time for Chris Jericho to go up the card. I don't know, but this just rubbed me the wrong way. Rubbed me in a certain kind of wrong way. Right, here's the bit that I've kind of been dreading, if I'm perfectly honest here, guys. We've all been friends for a long time. We're all friends here, correct?
Yeah.
If I say something was varied, okay, it's not, I'm not trying to offend you. Yeah. I'm not having a go at your joy. You shouldn't therefore have a go at my joy. I just feel like people really seem to like this and thought it was great. I was pretty disappointed by it. Powerhouse Hobbs goes over Big Bill in a street fight. And I didn't think it was particularly great. Feel free to disagree if you like. Just do so politely, please. So the general gist is that there's barbed wire tables at ringside. You could argue telegraphing the finish. They come out. Powerhouse Hobbs has got the trash can. Big Bill has got a backpack or a rucksack, which has probably got the bricks in it. You could tell straight away. So they get to brawling and they spill out in the crowd. The momentum is reversed after, back and forth brawl by Big Bill, who gets the heat by very obviously crouching over a barricade as Hobbs goes, should I get him for a second sort of splash? That doesn't look good.
Yeah.
And then Big Bill gets a bit of sound equipment and then slips as he throws it on Hobbs.
Aye.
And it just looks really sludgy.
Like connects, but you can't not see him go over, and it kind of kills it a bit. Yeah,
kills it a bit. So then he kind of takes over. He hits him with a keyboard or something. A keyboard. This K spot. Sorry, let's get my notes here. Let's look at my notes. There's a chair shot to the back. Chokeslam from Big Bill to Hobbs on the steps. There's a table set up in the corner. Is this when Brian Keith comes out? Yes, to help Big Bill in a really cool moment. In fact, probably the only thing that I thought, that's what I wanted out of this match. That's what I wanted out of this match. Brian Keith's got a chair with absolutely no compunction. Powerhouse Hobbs just punches it out of his hand. Yeah. And then badass theater is what I want, right? Really heightened, hard dudes, big dudes, just being badasses in a really cool action set piece, almost cinematic kind of way. One-handed chokeslam through that table, and it looks like the back of his head hits it first, and the rest of his body just flops against it, and then it breaks. It looks like finish him stuff. It looks really, really good. That was the only moment. That was the only moment, really, of the match where I thought, that's the badass theater I want from these two behemoths. And the rest of it didn't really happen. Deeper into the match, leading to the finish. The steps are set up by the stage in this like theater setup. And Hobbs, it almost looks like they botched it and got too early. So Hobbs has got Big Bill, and he's lifting him up. And then there's very little dramatic suspense of the, and then the best way to describe it, if you've missed this Dynamite, is that Big Bill almost slips out of Hobbs's grasp, goes through a barbed wire table, and then borrowing wholesale from the Texas Death Match 4 years ago. Bloody hell. Where does the time go? Between Jon Moxley and Lance Archer, the Texas Death, as Moxley was, Big Bill is stuck in the barbed wire, and he has to either rip it out of his skin or rip it out in time to stand up for the count. He's down for the 10 count. I guess that counts. I was a bit confused because that's Texas Deathy finish for a different stip. I don't know. I wasn't high on this at all. Am I in a mood?
Well, no, I was curious because you did mention this before we recorded. Has there been like enormous high praise?
No.
Is that like where the kind of route you worry is that?
No, I didn't see anyone express disappointment when that was the keenest emotion that I felt instantly was, this is not very good, really, and this is not what I expected. I expected more people to go, that's a shame.
I was a little bit lower going in because I wasn't as high as everybody had been on this kind of, they're just always fighting.
The brick stuff didn't look good either. It was meant to be this cool reveal, but it was, sorry, I know I've stepped on your dick here and interjected, but I don't know how long ago it was, but it felt long enough where I hadn't forgot about the brick, but it wasn't like such a huge key of the story where it's like, yes, I hope that's the bricks in there.
Is it because when they were used the first time, they had something to hit and you got that noise, and that's what it was all. What sells the brick is the thing the brick hits, and it was all happening in the backstage and like out there. There's a little bit of, you've got to kind of make it make a bit more sense as he's just whipping bricks.
Yeah. A total pointless blade job from Hobbs as well.
Yeah.
It's just what a waste because they didn't know it wasn't going to go anywhere. I'll tell you what as well, I missed out on the recap because I'm not very good at this. Will Bourne is incredible at his job. You know what? Hamflett's become excellent at it as well.
Thank you.
As I was wonderfully reminded, recording Best Match Ever, episode 4. Oh, we're getting some in the bank, baby. Don't worry about that. That is not live. That is released on YouTube. Season 1 is unfolding on YouTube on Sundays as we speak. So in addition to the brick, which, yes, it worked well the first time, there was also a wrench used. And yes, they got the sound of it over by Big Bill hits the ring steps, but Hobbs gets out of the way. And then he hits the barricade, but then Hobbs gets out of the way. I need more like dumb weapons that wouldn't look like they hurt as much to make it look like they're in pain. I know that makes no sense. I want to see just an array of tables just getting totally exploded. Yeah. Even though a wrench would hurt way more in reality. It's not reality, baby. This is pro wrestling. I've got a thing about weapons that don't register visually very well.
I think there's
bricks. Wrench, not the way to go for a match like this. I just want daft tables, cars, glass.
Well, it's funny you mention these things. A lot of those types of weapons or set pieces Cars. I like that you said cars specifically because that's one that sticks out to me.
Oh, the big Paul White eating crap.
Yeah, well, yeah. Was this the match that most felt for a second like you could summon the magic of a Daly's Place Dynamite from a Dynamite, if you haven't watched, that looked like a Daly's Place Dynamite? We should say the smaller venue. They have been great so far for AEW.
Short ramp that connects to the ring and
That's
stuff.
what we were looking at on this Dynamite, was the tunnels and the ramp. Very Daly's Place 2020. And you could hear the noise, but then back in 2020, you could hear some noise, fake or otherwise, roster made or otherwise. Yeah. And it allowed the brain to go to all sorts of places because that's what the wrestlers were doing in 2020. And when this didn't, there was almost like this jarring disconnect of, why not getting wackier?
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking at this, and you two can do anything, and you're not. And that was something that stuck out to me in this one. I share your sentiment here. I was waiting. This simultaneously went too long and not long enough.
Yes.
Because it was really laboured for ages. And then just as you sort of felt like, right, here we go, it was pretty much over.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was like probably between 10 and 15 minutes, let's say, TV time. And I'm not asking for a half an hour weapons match between these two.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like it made use of the time it had particularly effectively. It was fine. Like, Big Bill and Hobbs hitting each other with weapons isn't exactly a boring time. But we haven't had a chat for a while about Plunder excess in AEW. And I do wonder a little bit as well if, so soon on from the Brisbane Brawl.
That was hardly any Plunder.
No, but is it just a case of, I needed a couple more weeks to take a breather from the typical brand AEW violence and then back to it?
Nah, not at all for me. I just thought this was not particularly gripping or engaging or violent it wasn't fun, this.
Not really.
There was no fun to be had here at all. I just thought this was a real big disappointment, truthfully. And, Big Bill and Hobbs, knowing AEW's booking patterns, will probably get de-emphasized, and that'll probably cause some kind of, discourse the next time AEW, and they will always have a bad one. Even every hot promotion has bad shows. The next time they have a bad show and someone gets a push and they shouldn't, they'll remember, what about Hobbs? What about Big Bill? They didn't get it done last night. You know what I mean? This is if Powerhouse Hobbs has got all that credit in the bank, deservedly so, because his performance in the Moxley match was really good. His work in the angles was fun as hell. I needed to see that version of Hobbs in a full-length match, and I did not get it at all. Big Bill as well, he did the lipstick with the blood, and that was quite fun, but I think he's done that one before, and it's just, I don't know, you get these spots for a reason, and it's had the build, it's got the shortcuts with the stip, they've had all kind of the help, and they didn't really do something that amazing, so it's one of my pet peeves when it's I'm not Tony Khan's biggest fan anymore, but there is a case to be made that's not always the booker's fault. No. Because I don't think this was good enough. Yeah, when you're kind of crying injustice for wrestlers that you want to get more, or get what they deserve, or however you want to phrase that, you kind of one of the foundational parts of those claims is loads of ammunition to base them on. And here's a perfect example of, if they knock this out the park and then don't get pushed in the aftermath, where's the justice? I just hope that the distinction is made when this inevitably turns up in the discourse the next time AEW has a bad show. What have we got next? Let me just go through my notes, get my notes. Renee Paquette interviews the Murder Machines of Brian Cage and Lance Archer. They said that we've got something to say with the Hurt Syndicate, but surprise, surprise, they're nowhere to be found. That's just them pretending that they're scared when they're not. But they said they're going to have a little face-to-face on Collision, and we're going to get the tag team titles. Revolution match for you? What, these two? No. God, it'll go nice 8 to 10 minutes of just. Then again, I've been put off meat matches, so I thought this was taking place on Collision. I'd have been more than happy with this just being done and dusted. Is it? I don't know, maybe not. If not this week's Collision, just a Collision. They're not built anyone else in Revolution. That's not true. Far away. That's true. Go find me a tag team AEW, because I don't think it's these two. I reckon it could be a fun little defense. Nice little 10 minutes of bombast. Yeah, I guess so. Maybe it's because I've already trained myself to think this is nothing more than standard, it could be on TV fare. Yeah, it is standard TV fare, obviously, but I still think it's going to be a standard TV fare masquerading as a pay-per-view match, and maybe the crowd will be really into it and can get elevated.
Hurt Syndicate are over.
Yeah.
Like,
the other amazing
people
as
get
well.
excited for them, so.
Cage and Archer, not so much.
Not so much.
2019 Raw. If you know, you know. Justin Roberts, who I find increasingly irritating. I don't know, it was introductions for one of the matches. I can't remember which one specifically, just gave me the ick a little bit.
This one, yeah. It'll come back to me too.
Yeah. And he basically says that Double or Nothing is coming here to Phoenix. In a really big venue where they didn't sell many tickets for this one.
I think they've done the right thing. I don't know.
I don't mind, but it's better the smaller venues, but...
Well, they have been forced to do this. Like, they can't run Vegas. When WrestleMania's just left town.
And brackets general.
Maybe.
Because the gates haven't been good for the Vegas Double or Nothings. I mean, there was like empty seats for the pay-per-view when we were there. It's a sign of the times as well. But yeah, Vegas worked brilliantly for the first ever AEW show. It's thematically brilliant. Double or Nothing, all in the whole betting on yourselves and betting on the idea of wrestling. Is there a better location than Vegas for that? And away from the romance of it and the narrative, it's a tourist destination. So if people are on the fence about going to the first AEW show, it's like, well, play some chips.
Yeah.
At the same time, play some cards. So,
tables.
But those days are over.
Yes.
AEW's not the hard thing. It's not, if I'm a wrestling fan, I'm doing everything in my power to go to an AEW show. That's gone. Vegas is a bad town to run when you're cold, like a really bad town to run when you're cold. So, because there's so much competition. So, right time, but maybe the wrong venue change. We'll see how the tickets go.
You've seen the branding for Arizona Double or Nothing. It's the same neon logo, but it's all set in like the Arizona color schemes, and the cactuses are all neoned up and stuff like that.
I like that.
It's good stuff. Looks really
That's
good.
going to sell some tickets.
Yeah.
It'd sell you a ticket.
I'd buy a ticket. Yeah, if I was in Phoenix, whatever it is. Yeah,
absolutely. And we get the toneless Timey Storm.
Oh, sorry, instead of a big stack of poker chips, I just got a massive cactus instead. I never bring the poker chips.
Massive cack?
Cactus.
Oh, right, it's the set.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
What if
and then the spikes on it, and then like...
Somebody goes in.
Moxley's goes in it. Yeah.
Cactus. Yeah. A cactus clothesline.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like Mick Foley in a way. I've just thought, what if at WrestleMania, like on the set, WWE just gets like the biggest stack of red poker chips you've ever seen as part of the set. And
Yeah.
Bigger stack of chips.
I still remember when.
God.
We went. We were completely privileged to go to Double or Nothing 2023. The last two matches were amazing. So was the Battle Royal, and that was the show. And then we go into the concourse, get ourselves a couple of pops, some sody pops. And then Hamflett goes, "Oh, Sage, look at that! They got the chips back. There's a big stack of chips.
Yeah,
it's the set. Now in Hamflett, it's a screen."
My brother didn't have his glasses, and my distance isn't so great. And I put my glasses on, it was a screen.
Yeah.
Just for a second now. WWE should do that this year, just to make a point.
Just to make a point of, come on.
Our stock chips is massive, and it is made of plastic.
And it is made of plastic. You've already got the chips. Did you sell the chips? So an AEW museum, just get the chips out of mothballs.
Oh man, I'm just buying the chips and just painting them off. Like, got any chips kicking around, and someone in the back hey, buddy in the MGM Grand's got a stack of chips if you want to borrow them.
Yeah.
Just paint over the logo.
Yeah.
God.
Probably what happened.
They're somewhere.
History's gone.
Those chips are somewhere.
Where are the chips? Let us know. If you're in AEW, I would like to know.
Where are the chips?
Where are the chips? And maybe something else. Reach out.
I wonder if there is like an AEW storage facility, the WWE warehouse. AEW's a young company, might not have something like that. Various like props from there when they still did props. Where are the cogs?
I want to know what the cogs are.
The cogs and the chips.
Still in bloody John Moxley's heat when Kenny Omega knocked him out. Anyway, it's the timeless Tony Storm celebration. It's a promo that exists to A, celebrate her title win, B, get her on the show because the follow-up to moments even involving their biggest stars is often lacking, so I'm glad that this happened, and I'm fairly certain that this was her way of saying Mariah May stuff is done. In totality, a very, very good feud that I'm very, very glad has happened. Had some flaws, but I think that in about a year's time, so many iconic moments like the initial heel turn, amazing, that all be well remembered. Nonetheless, it appears to be Dunsky Jones City, judging by toneless Timey Storm's promo. She basically says that I'm the whore that you all adore, the slut You stupid slut. You can't rebut. And the tramp is now the champ. And Mariah May is a sick bitch who give me the fight of my life. She also says that good things come in small packages. Hamflett?
Yes, Sidge.
Basically, she railed her with the biggest small package there's ever been. The Queen has been exiled, compromised to a permanent end, and she's in a new movie, Queen of the Ring, theaters March 7th.
Sex. Osama bin Laden.
Yeah.
Just in case, guys.
Yeah, just in case. And this is proper, if I was in like 2021 mode, you think, not yet. She basically said, I'm here to defend the title against the best, whether that's Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale, or Wendy Richter. So basically, she's saying that Chris Statlander or Willow Nightingale. Come on, elevate them, put them in world title programs.
Get excited.
Because they're amazing, and they deserve more goddamn TV time.
Yeah, I'm with you pretty much all the way here. The follow-up is important. It's still, like, just because fans can infer things and it was the main event, like, you need to follow up. Like, you've got to double down because you got to prove that it wasn't just a one-off on the Saturday because they were in Australia or whatever. Toni Storm, just even being on the show, like, reinforces that there can still be some semblance of a meritocracy because she warrants the TV time.
Yeah.
And how many people sometimes get the time and don't deserve it. So I'm glad she got this. I got the same thing as you. I was like, Willow, Chris. They might even do a daft payoff for Wendy Richter just once. And I think they should. If there's any way to, maybe if they go and film something, you know, like a tape thing, like Toni Storm's gone to a house to challenge her or something like that. And it's something that Wendy Richter's come to with. I don't know, like do something with that.
Like be a valet for a night or something.
Yeah, something like that. I still think, I know we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, for what happens with Toni Storm as champion again, because we all thought she was going to beat Mariah May, but how do you then make it fresh and interesting? I still wonder, if they're going to just go for it all in Dallas and just do Toni Storm and Mercedes Moné. Like, you keep her undefeated, Mercedes Moné, until Dallas. This is the biggest match the company's got.
Yeah.
Like, title for title, maybe.
Yeah, and then a little drop ski of the TBS and have a Tony. Tony Khan loves that.
I didn't even consider the unifying the belts. I just imagined putting them all on the line. But you could do that. You could unify.
Not unified. Whoever wins both. And then whoever's got both titles just drops the old TBS. Okay. The old Keith Lee.
Yes.
The old William Regal. William Regal, if it was such a great idea to have the champion have both titles, why is it also a great idea for them to drop it? That's a great idea, Keith.
Masterful gambit, Keith.
Desperation, that's what that was, William.
Yeah.
Anyway, we get a Gabe Kidd video package. He is good.
Salcedo went Osprey. Santi Zapp went Regal. W.
The Gabe Kidd video packages show basically saying he's the tits in New Japan, and he's actually going to come to Collision this Saturday night. I won't tell you who the spoiler is. It's I would describe this as a future hidden gem more than an all-star match, but what I'm very much looking forward to watching. That goes down this Saturday night. Renee Paquette, the roving reporter, backstage with Willow Nightingale, and she is pissed off. Immediately says, the old carrying cross. I don't like this from Willow. I was given a minute of precious TV time last week, only to be interrupted by your bloody husband and Marina Shafir. And then yet again, she is interrupted. A brawl spills out. Shafir attacks Nightingale. Moxley walks in the shot, says, camera, here, I've got something to say. He comes out to the ring and flanked by Wheeler Yuta. Says, I'm the champion of the world. That means this microphone, this camera, the fans, your seats, they all belong to me. No one comes here, challenges me like Cope did. Cope isn't here. He's probably still down face first in the dirt in Australia. He comes out and says that. Have you noticed Moxley's new thing? Where I think it's an overcorrection. He is on in a way that feels like he's trying to turn himself up to 11 and stuff. He's shouting his head off. He's stark raving mad.
Well, pretty much all of this was what Roman Reigns is doing when he become a megalomaniac. Remember that? Like, remember that he's walking down the ring and he's like, I'm absolutely sick of this. This is my camera. This is my building.
Yep.
Height of Tribal Chief megalomania.
Yeah, it's a bad performance, though, from Roman.
But I'm saying, like, well, yeah, because it was like you could buy it, I guess. But, like, that's seemingly what he's aiming for. Total, like, psychotic control of everything around him.
But in terms of so that's the character's aim. The performer, it just felt to me like he was trying way too hard. Like he's heard the criticism. He can't. I know he's offline, off the grid.
I'm hanging out in libraries. You should try it sometime.
That kind of thing. Sorry, we're taking the piss. He meant a lot to us, Mox. Just drop the old belt.
Could do again.
Drop the old belt if it might mean something to us all over again. It just feels like he's heard the criticism, maybe the whispers in that locker room.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, really, him doing this? We're all trying to do our thing, and this sucks. He's like shouting at the top of his head. It's like he's trying to convince himself and the fans with this like real loud booming quality, and he's on the ropes like that. I don't know, just felt a bit.
He's a different baddie again.
Different baddie
the third or fourth baddie since the stable launched.
He's not cryptic anymore. He's shouty. That's what he is. Switchblade Jay White emerges, but then like he's doing the thing where it's like, look behind you, and then Mox goes, he's behind me, isn't he? And then Coleman goes, yeah, and then it's very intense and stuff, and then there's a brawl, isn't there? Yeah, there's a brawl. Send them fleeing. I'll tell you what was cool. The Blade Runner.
Aye.
Here you go. Cope does the spear.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I liked as well.
That's cool.
Mox, and this is in character for a change, saying something sort of positive about the arranging of a segment rather than shooting on Mox. The idea that Mox is smart enough to know that if he comes out and commandeers a camera and a microphone, Jay White will do the same. So he has Pac ready to be there behind Jay White. But Jay White, the smart babyface, is ready with his counter.
Yeah.
So like Pac could and should deck him from behind.
Yeah.
But Jay White pretty much snaps him straight away. It's not like, and he does it on the ramp. So that's Pac disposed of.
Yeah.
For the brawl. I like those characters thinking enough about that.
Yeah.
Are you going to do the cope bit?
Yeah, I'm going to do the cope bit, mate. Yeah, I'm going to do the cope bit. This is miraculously probably the best Death Rider segment ever after the plastic bag stuff in the early days. So the Death Riders are sent fleeing by the cool, hard, in their own minds, baby faces, and Cope grabs the mic, and suddenly a chill runs down my spine. I start to feel that horrible all-overishness. Like something's not right. Something's not right. My bones are cold. The fan starts singing his bloody song. On this day, I draw poorly.
That's what they were singing.
That's what they were singing. That is the song. Yeah, I don't need Cope to be Seth Rollins over because it's fake. The fans shouldn't be having fun. I'm not lying. What are you laughing at me for? I'm not lying. They should
Stop it.
Stop having fun. You'll only encourage him.
Oh, and Tony Khan will be gutted that he didn't see this one coming, because this is the dream for a promoter, right? Like next week, they'll do everything they can to make a segment, get those fans singing so that it becomes a thing. Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Because cut him off to do his big snarling Moxley nuts bit.
Yeah.
But had he not, they would have gone and done the whole thing again, because fans have seen a thing. I said this on our Grand Slam review. I wanted to be in the building, if only for a moment, when that was taking place. And this week, the fans have thought, oh, we can be that building.
Yeah.
That's going to carry over. I don't know that it means over, but you're going to see, at a bare minimum, like that Judas ripple effect where you get buildings that want to contribute.
Yeah. Performative, amusing of yourselves is going to be conflated with Cope being over.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is very good, but we'll see. We'll see. At the very least, like, I don't want the main event of Revolution to fail. I would like it to be very good on its own terms and earn the audience. And ultimately, Cope, I don't think is going to be a world champion. So why can't, if he has a good match, I'm not going to be in a mood with it, because I resent the fact that he's being pushed. But at the same time, like, let's not do the Seth Rollins thing with Cope. Like, it's just if that doesn't happen in Australia, I don't think he gets an amazing reaction here necessarily. Great crowd in Phoenix, nonetheless. I just don't think we don't need Cope and being over conflated right now, because he hasn't done the work. He's just had a song sung at him. But he grabs the mic, and if you'd never seen the finish to Grand Slam, right? If you'd never seen the Grand Slam finish and you'd never seen the highlights and whatever, you'd think he'd done the whole, oh, well, Cope just pinned Mox. Bloody hell, now he's going to win a Revolution. He's got all the gusto, the bass in the voice, the conviction. And Mox, you haven't got the guts. You haven't got the nuts. I'll be up to my nuts and guts. You know? That's what he was saying. Just things like that. That's exactly what he said.
Those were his words.
I mean, I'm not very good at recaps, but that's verbatim, buddy.
Yeah.
And he says, like, when I see you at Revolution, I'm going to take out your goon squad one by one, and then at Revolution Max, I'm going to kick your ass. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Because because you got choked out cleanly in a brawl where there's nothing's off limits. Why are you what the?
This was real.
What's going on here?
Yeah. There was no mention on the commentary, nor clip shown of the fact that Jon Moxley, in a match, in terms decided by the babyfaces, defeated said number one contender babyface. That was, they couldn't have, the silence around that was deafening, I thought, throughout all of this.
Mox said,
Kick your ass.
Yeah,
but when would he not say that?
Yeah.
Not fight and kick somebody's ass. He didn't say, I beat you, and
he talked around it.
yeah. Other than that,
Cope just deluded, did not acknowledge that he got his ass kicked.
yeah, no mention.
These things don't join up. How is the storyline rubbish every week?
Well, so Cope has now said, and again,
Don't sing his bloody song. If you do, I'll be happy.
same without saying that the only reason Mox got anything on him in Brisbane was because of the Death Riders. So now he's going to do this own little self-made Death Riders gauntlet where week after week he's going to take.
Better not wrestle him. Wrestling or crimes.
Oh.
How is he going to take them out? And will he be enough of a geek to wear camo?
Do you think he's going to do a crimes best of? So like week 1, Utah, Bleach. Week 2, Claudio, kidnapping.
Gaffer tape and a kidnapping.
Yeah. Like week 3, Pac, I don't know, drive.
Use your powers against you, Max.
Jay White chucks him in a pickup truck and then they just drive away. So I don't know. So, but you get to, and this is where we get back to Greg's or nothing. All that's going to be left is Marina Shafir. So Cope's big plan of getting rid of them has seemingly worked, but for Marina Shafir, that's when Willow Nightingale steps in and she takes out Marina Shafir and the road is clear and Cope wins the belt and Christian cashes in. This promo made me think this is going to be a Death Riders free Revolution and Marina Shafir is going to be the only one that can help and Willow's now in this and exists to deal with that to clear the way for Cope.
Oh, God. Giving him the title.
For, a second.
Giving Christian Cage the title. You've got Ospreay, Swerve, MJF, Hangman, Kenny Omega. Cal Fletcher even. It's a youth movement, you know.
What if on the first night of...
You don't got no nuts, you don't got no guts, Max. You little goon squad. I'm going to take them all out.
I've got it, mate.
What?
What happened on the first Dynamite after Revolution 2021, which wrestler came out and staked a claim for the AEW World title on the Dynamite after Revolution 2021? It
was Christian Cage.
And who was the world champion that he staked the claim on?
Kenny Omega.
Switch him up, buddy. Christian Cage comes out in the first Revolution after Dynamite after Revolution 2025. Kenny Omega's the first guy to challenge him. I want my belt back.
He's going to go for the international and continental titles, though.
Yeah, there's nobody.
Backstage we go. I'm going to kick your ass, Max. Why didn't you do it on Brisbane then, mate?
Him saying, like...
You had the chance. Why didn't you do it then? And why is it not acknowledged by you? Who do you think you are?
You ain't got no nuts.
You ain't got no guts.
You ain't got no spine. It's like, I prefer the spine crack in the Christopher Daniels stuff, to be honest. We've had our spine tonight.
Yeah. Hangman Page said he would give Chris Daniels a spine if he could.
Yeah.
Don't know what that meant, but it sounded all right.
But should have been on the whiteboard. No more spine talk.
Yeah.
Doing it in seg one.
You got no balls. You got no nuts. You got no guts. I'll kick your ass.
Keeps going with saying, you got no balls. You got no nut. You got no testes.
You got no testes. Huh? You got no little bollocks.
Got no sack for the fight, Marks.
You got no sack for the fight, Marks. You got no goddamn gonads, Moxley.
No nads.
You got no nads, Marks.
Got no plums, John.
Hang on.
Here we go.
Slang for words for testicles.
Got no yam bags, Marks.
Got no yam bags, Marks. You got no bollocks. You got no testes. You got no rocks. You got no nuts. You got no cobblers. You got no gonads. You got no ghoulies, Max.
Ghoulies!
You got no ghoulies.
Yeah, but it was ghoulies everything in your school for a bit.
You got no cojones, Max. Ghoulies was
Ghoulies is British,
yeah.
isn't it? It's as British as Mr. Bean.
There's quite a few. You got no Bannocks. You got no boars.
Bannocks?
You ain't got two beans down there. you got no bean bags. You got no berries, Max. You got no boys down there in their trousers. You got no bubbles, Max. You got no cherries. You got no chicken nuggets. You ain't got no chicken nuggets.
Where's your chicken nuggets, Max?
Where's your chicken nuggets, goddamn? You got no chuckles, huh? It's no laughing matter. You got no balls. You got no chicken nuggets. You got no cards. You got no coin purses. You got no crown jewels. You got no cubes. You got no coolians.
Cubes of pews.
You got no eggs, Max. You got no giggleberries, huh? You got no gooseberries. You got no huevos. You got no Jacobs. You got no Jets crackers. That's from Australia. I should have used it in Brisbane. I don't know why I'm Italian American, but we are where we are. You got no clackers, huh? Got no knackers. You got no lamb fries. You got no loins. You got no love spuds. You got no marbles, Max. You got no nadges neither.
Is that what Nads is short for? Nadges.
Nadges.
I never thought about
You got no nards. You got no nuts. You got no orchis. That's clinical. Pebbles, plums, potatoes, pods, profiteroles, rocks, spuds, stepchildren. You got no stepchildren, Max.
Got no profiteroles.
Got no stones, sweet meats, swingers, taters, teabags, tests, twins, watermelons. Well, go to the doctor if you got a pair of those. Yams and yarples. Max.
Got no Moxleys, Max. You got no Moxie, Max.
You got no Moxie, Max. Just feedback. We are taking in consideration the fact that people don't like bits on the AEW stuff. So, Oderick Strong, well, he's on a trial. He's on
Go
trial.
back to the top of the list. We don't do bits. We don't do nuts.
We
don't do cherries. We don't do profiteroles.
We don't do apples, apricots, bags, ballocks, balls, bangers, bannocks, boars, beans, bean bags, berries, bollocks, balls, boys, bubbles. You got no bubbles, Max.
You got no bubbles. You got tiny bubbles, Max.
Tiny
Do
little.
you like profiteroles?
Not particularly.
I had a feeling you wouldn't. I don't know. I know you well enough to not necessarily know your food takes, but just get a sense. Because I like a profiterole, but I just would have thought, like, that ain't Sidgy. Not only does he never speak lovingly for dessert and pudding like he would mains and starters, but there would be something.
More a Maltesers guy.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't even consider them in the same postcode. I'll eat. The problem is sometimes I'll eat profiteroles like Maltesers, and that ain't no good. You can't be eating a whole set of profiteroles to yourself. Yeah. But I love the specific kind when you're in a store-bought, can't pretend that I've ever made it myself, but the very specific kind of melted chocolate you get on store-bought profiteroles. I wish there was like a bar of it.
Yeah, I do like the chocolate.
If ever you get cooking chocolate, you can't eat that. You have to cook with it.
You can if it's the only thing left in the cupboard.
Oh, I've done it. We've all cried over a snapped bar of cooking chocolate.
We've all skived, and I'm just going into the cupboard, the kitchen, shut up. It's like, oh God, that's nothing. Do I eat the cooking chocolate left over from the thing we didn't make 6 months ago? That's just gathering dust. Yeah.
You're eating it. It's like clacking in your teeth, tasting nothing.
Yeah.
Well, these are wasted calories.
Yeah. This is just hard.
I'm going to have to drink some water to erase the non-flavour of cooking chocolate.
Yep.
But yeah, if you bought that, it wouldn't replicate however they're making it in those profiterole factories. I love that. Like, love that particular kind of melted chocolate.
Got no profiteroles, Max. Renee Paquette backstage with Mercedes Money, who learned there's a price to pay when you mess with money. We cut then to Momo Watanabe.
Got no Momos, Max.
Yep. Backstage at Grand Slam Australia. Said that she's challenging for the TBS title, having won a Dynasty, the opportunity to contend for it. Monet rolls her eyes and says, you need to show up on Dynamite and say that to her face. And that match is set for Revolution. That's something very interesting and different. I'm really into that.
Yeah, it's a nice bit of follow-on from the January 5th, was it?
Yeah,
The
like Wrestle Dynasty thing.
Feels big that she won that shot. I like this.
Absolutely. I like, the shared working relationship. It's all good stuff. This is the earnest version of It's All Good Stuff. Megan Bayne shockingly defeats Chris Statlander in a match that completely over-delivered for me, despite being a little bit clunky. Look, Megan Bayne, very, very promising, but she is, in fact, a work in progress, as I'm always at pains to point out. Chris Statlander's footwork is sensational. She covered for the fact that maybe Bayne wasn't always in the correct position. She can always account for that. Chris Statlander's amazing. If the spear didn't look amazing out of the corner at one point, Statlander sold it as if it was without ruining her credibility. She's just excellent. Like, watch her footwork, right? The story of this match basically is that they are each flexing their power game. They are trying to jostle, show their strength advantage over the other. It looks like Statlander has fought that particular battle in this thread until Penelope Ford turns and, well, she was a heel to begin with, but joins forces with Megan Bayne, cheats on Megan Bayne's behalf, and Megan Bayne beats Statlander. Before we get to the awful post-match, I want to make one point before getting your thoughts. If you follow our NXT coverage, don't blame me if you don't, but if you do, you will notice or recall me constantly saying that, my God, the in-house Performance Center talent are not great. Nothing they do looks like a believable struggle. Their timing's all off. It feels like they're taught the moves. Ironically, in the Fed of all places, that they are told flashy enough moves before they get the leapfrog drop downs all sorted, all those fundamentals. Chris Statlander is the anti-Performance Center wrestler, and I mean that as the highest possible compliment.
Yeah, I've used this sort of comparison before, but they really have something of a Hangman Page of this women's division in Chris Statlander, because every time she suffers a big defeat, this was not a big defeat, but it was a defeat nonetheless, you sense it's like adding to this bigger picture where one day Chris Statlander will turn the corner and the fans are ready to lift her up all over again. And
I think she's amazing.
I think so much of that is rooted in the quality of the work. I really do. Like, it's one thing to just have loyalty to somebody that was there from the beginning, or somebody that you've seen progress and like, kind of get out of storylines and gimmicks and survive bad booking or whatever. But the matches constantly stand up for themselves. Like, she's got the matches wrestling more than most, because sometimes that's all you can have if you're in Chris Statlander's position.
Or if you're in AEW and you're a woman.
Yeah, realistically, yeah. There was a point like the Megan Bayne here, and you alluded to this. Megan Bayne and Chris Statlander are not that different in build, but Chris Statlander couldn't have understood the assignment more here of, we want Megan Bayne to be received as this like mini monster of the women's division. So can you reduce yourself, or can you... how strong is Chris Statlander?
Yeah.
Like, can you...
The way she was throwing herself back into the turnbuckles.
Yeah. Can you look like the friggin' 1C3 kid getting chucked around by a razor?
Yeah.
Can you struggle to lift her for your stuff? Like, this couldn't have been better for Megan Bayne in terms of the character they were trying to not just present on this one night, but then link up with Penelope Ford, set up with Thunder Rosa. It's as if, like, from the gauntlet, where she was just one of a field that was destined to be won by Toni Storm, we now know who and what Megan Bayne's about. She's going to monster a few women. Like, I'd get her in there next to someone like an Anna Jay and have her just, like, physically dominate her. Yeah. And she'd be like, well, Anna Jay's got all this history. We know she can go. And then she just gets chucked about and beaten. Like, this... Statlander, in theory, is the last person that you would want to position against that. You don't want to save the match. But because she's so great, what she did here was kind of... like, reintroduce what Megan Bayne offers. Yeah. A really impressive TV match, this.
Yeah, and the post-match was less than impressive. So there's a 2-on-1 attack. Penelope Ford and Megan Bayne are attacking Statlander. The save is attempted to be carried out by Thunder Rosa, who comes out with a chair. What has gone on here? I have no idea. Instincts between them were terrible. If there's a report that comes out that says they all hate each other or whatever, I would not be surprised. So Thunder Rosa comes out with a chair. I would say that the first thing that goes wrong in this incredibly awkward chain of events is that Bayne and Penelope Ford are way too close to the ropes.
Yeah.
So Thunder Rosa tries to come in. They have to, like, politely kind of move. They should be running, really. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God, there's a hard-ass babyface with a steel chair, powder out. For some reason, they stay in the ring. Thunder Rosa's like, go away, please. I'm swinging a chair violently, and I was in the lights out match, and I'm Thunder Rosa, and I do Plunder matches, and I'm the baby face, and I'm more experienced than you, and I'm like, I win more than Penelope Ford does. Kind of get out the ring, and for whatever reason, I cannot fathom Penelope Ford, Megan Bayne almost like taunted Thunder Rosa while she was holding the chair, not selling any fear of the fact that a hard baby face has got a chair in my face, and Thunder Rosa, because it's not in the script to hit them or swing. You're not going to do that and take a liberty.
No.
Like,
she swings, at least at this point, expecting them to react to that. And then they don't.
Well,
so she has to pull a punch.
I mean, it's
pull the swing of the chair.
It's common sense.
Yeah.
It is common sense. Look, like Penelope Ford should know better.
Well, a kind of like disastrous miscommunication has obviously gone on here. But like, even
don't have to communicate. There's a really hard baby face, and two baby faces are better than two heels. Get out of the ring.
And then to make matters worse, in a bizarre improvisation, because the heels do not leave the ring, and they must have been certain something else was supposed to happen. But then they get locked in a tug of war, and it looks, and nobody knows what they're doing by this point, it feels like. No. And then when they do bail, like they get to the ramp, and then Thunder throws the chair at them in an effort to make this feel violent again. It's like, well, you could have taken the heads off a few seconds ago.
Yeah.
And it's pretty awkward.
I think it's incredibly awkward. You're underselling it. But this match outsold. Max Caster backstage with Renee Paquette again. He's behind the 8 ball. He's 0-2 in the open challenge. That's not the problem. He blames Hangperson, I hate that, Adam Page, around the ring before one of the matches. But the open challenge will continue on Collision, and he'll show that there's no one better than the best wrestler in the world, or the best wrestler alive, is it, Max Caster?
Yeah, this is weird,
Bones is going to turn up in like 4 weeks when I'm going to meant to care that and think he hates him. Do you know what I mean?
The individual matches, I know there's only been 2 of them, have been pretty good.
Yeah.
The story sucks at the same time.
Yeah.
It's both, innit?
Yeah. Ricochet comes out for a promo, and he's wearing that embassy robe, calls Arizona a poor man's Las Vegas. There's a dig at Kevin Durant. I don't follow basketball. He must have left the Las Vegas basketballers.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice touch with the Double or Nothing news, isn't it?
Yeah.
Here's your good news for your city. Screw off, losers.
Screw off, slag off. I love slag off. He says that the fans are acting like ungrateful animals, so I'll speak to the fans at home, and he does that down the lens promo. He says the booing doesn't matter. When you boo a winner, you boo into a void of nothingness. It almost works for Ricochet when he's not great at this. he's the improvement's exponential. Maybe it was always there and WWE never cared to utilize it, or maybe he's just locked in and decided, Christ, 5-star matches have changed since I was, since 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Whatever the change, there's been a significant one. He says that I'm a winner. Proved it 2 weeks ago. I beat Swerve Strickland's ass. And in fact, I've proved it every second I've been in AEW. I've whooped all of your fans' favorites' asses, like Darby, Swerve, Will Ospreay as well. He says winners have something to show off their success. He does the thing with the rope, but he wants gold. He does the belt gesture. More wrestlers, give me the belt.
Do it all the time, man.
Damn it. He says he'll be the main name on this roster, and he wants to win gold. Strickland's music comes out before they realize he's not there. He's so over. Nana says he advised him to stay at home because it feeds back from last week where he says like it's getting too personal, Swerve. He tries to appeal to Ricochet's better moral sense and say, look, you don't deserve to be wearing that. I would like it back. It represents pride, integrity, those we have lost, in reference to Jimmy Rave. Ricochet says, no. He says, you're not going to get your rope back, Nana. And he says it in a really sinister way. And then he goes, aha!
It's horrible.
It's horrible.
Come and take it.
It's you're not getting your Swerve. You're not getting your rope back, Nana.
School bully stuff.
Aha! It's great, this. I tweeted this, Mega fans will forgive me. I thought this was a great segment. Ricochet, again, knocking it out of the park. He is still stiff enough, and it works so much in the favor of his promo style and what he's trying to do as a character. He is not, all of a sudden, this big mega star with the composure and this effortless delivery. The fact that he's still stiff, even if he doesn't probably want to be, works so well for this character, because deep down, fundamentally, of all people, Ricochet, who used to steal Sheamus's hat and be a total geek and would just be rubbish on Twitter and great in the ring and what have you, rubbish on Twitter and a total geek. This could not have been a more inspired idea of, people who get treated badly, and he got geeked by the Hurt Syndicate and Swerve laughed at him. Like, they often become the worst people. Mm-hmm. They often become the worst people, like people you don't expect to be like the really nasty ones. You see it in like true crime documentaries and all sorts.
Yeah. Like incel traits.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was trying. I'm trying to talk around that.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. But it's that kind of like someone. It's like the good version of the freaking Joker somehow, where someone who's like just been spurned, embarrassed, like just a total reject who people laugh at. This is what happens to them a lot of the time. And of all people, Ricochet is playing it. I think the inspiration behind this character and the just excellent but imperfect execution just works so well for me.
Yeah, I loved it. Again, like Nana as the sympathetic figure. It's like, I don't know if I thought about this or I heard it somewhere. And like, Either I thought about it myself and happened upon it, or somebody said it, and I really apologize if this was your take on Twitter or on another podcast, and just call me out for it if I've stolen it. There is a certain Paul Bearer and The Undertaker quality to Nana and Swerve, in that, like, he will die for this manager, for this man that is with him.
And what works is, like, Nana being with Swerve really got him up there.
Yeah. Like, it was kind of the crucial ingredient in the same way that Paul Bearer was. And, like, having to stick up for Paul Bearer could look like hard work from time to time for The Undertaker, but he did it anyway. Yeah. And Swerve will do this for Nana.
I'm going to do it anyway, but in The Undertaker's voice. How would that sound?
I'm going to do it anyway.
I'm going to do it anyway.
I'm going to do it anyway. There's someone in that locker room so weak. I'm going to get my guns out, and I'm going to scare the out of them. Shaking my hand too soft, rookie.
No, not soft enough. Not soft enough, rookie. Get here, rookie. You're going to wrestle's court.
The harder you hit my goddamn face, the madder I become.
Don't hit me in the back of the head with a chair. It's your first time swinging it, you punk ass.
But do it too soft. I'll think that you suck.
And I'll think that you're French as well.
I'm changing the rules now.
Because I'm the Undertaker. We have some fun with the dead man.
It's all good stuff.
It's all good stuff.
The B in BSK stands for Barry.
Yeah. Something inside so strong.
The Barry Street Crew.
We don't do bits. It's fine, though. That's fine. The main event time. It is Orange Cassidy defeating Roderick Strong to advance in the International Title Contenders Series. He will go on to wrestle next week. Konosuke Takeshita, the winner of that, Konosuke Takeshita, will go on to wrestle Kenny Omega. But as I said on the preview yesterday, this was at least the unpredictable match of this pretty backwards and weird series, but we'll go with it because we're getting some good matches, and Kenny's good. I really had a good time with this. It's a bit of a fun interaction where who rolls out for the powder first? So Cassidy rolls out for the powder, gives the old hug to Kyle O'Reilly, and then Kyle O'Reilly's got a great face, goes, that guy.
Jim Halpert's the camera, doesn't he?
Yeah. Looks like that. And then Cassidy looks to Cole, old rivals.
Yeah.
Like a lights out match.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of a glorified Plunder brawl, but whatever. And then rolls back into the ring. Roderick Strong takes a powder, hugs them both, and then the match begins. There was a spot in this match very early where I howled with laughter, where Cassidy tries something off the top rope. Roderick Strong drop kicks this dude so hard on the side of the head. And I've got such a sick sense of humor. I can't laugh at anything wholesome anymore. Like a well-crafted, wholesome joke. At best, I'll go, I've just been so corrupted by X and just various friendship groups along the way.
Yeah.
Where it takes someone getting kicked in the side of the head. I'm like, I'll piss myself laughing. It was great. They then enter this absolutely electrifying series of counter pro wrestling. There are times, right? And I know the ball knowers.
You plum knowers. You nuts knowers.
Yeah, you nuts knowers. In case you're not watching on YouTube, I did the jerk off motion, then I went hate them. They will not think I'm very cool for this, right? Sometimes I'm bored by Roderick Strong.
Yeah.
sometimes I'm bored by Roderick Strong. There are other times when I know what people like about him and I feel it for myself, and he just kicks ass, and he's this relentless ass-kicking machine. He was pretty much a relentless ass-kicking machine in this match with Orange Cassidy. Some of this counter-wrestling and the intent behind it and the struggle was absolutely gorgeous. This goes on for a while. I'm completely rubbish at recaps, but you kind of know what this looks like, but it's better than you think it is in your head if you're cynical, like a bastard like me. There's a great end of heartache close to near towards the finish. The finish is, I've forgotten, it can't have been that good a match, but it's a stun dog, millionaire counter from End of Heartache, and the way he gets himself up is majestic now that I referred to my notes. Orange Punch gets the win. Undisputed Era go backstage. Before we get to the post-match, though,
liked it a lot. The commentators were like, this was pointed that
Wilborn is excellent at his job.
Sure is. Orange Cassidy coming out to Jane, back in the light denim. This wasn't just a aesthetics for the sake of it thing. Was that the commentators were at pains to be like, he's gone away a bit. Like Orange Cassidy, the last we saw of him was like
black jeans,
just a victim of the Death Riders, the whole thing. And it's like he's going for freshly squeezed, fresh start.
Yeah.
And I thought that came through in the match as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's him separating himself from the Death Riders forever, or there's something bigger planned where down the line you realise he has to go back into battle because of his failed first attempt. But I quite enjoyed that. It's a nice little story detail as well.
I kind of got a glimpse. It's not like a big secret code or nothing. As to why this international series is playing out in the order it is and who's involved, because they get in the post-match, Shivani interviews Orange Cassidy, says that, if you win it again, you've got the chance to be the best international champion of all time. After all, it was Cassidy's amazing reign that put that title on the map and elevated it in prominence and prestige and what have you. This draws out Takeshita and Mark Davis, who start to kick Cassidy's ass, and then Omega makes the save, which I like as well, because it kind of makes you think, maybe it will be new international champion Orange Cassidy versus Kenny Omega. So they are sort of doing a little bit of detail work there. But if nothing else, Omega did a V-trigger on Takeshita that actually looked like a V-trigger. Oh, thank you. I needed that. But the fact that I reckon Omega's probably going to win the international title, they could do Omega versus Cassidy, and they've never done it as a straight one-on-one. That's one of the few proper AEW tenured guys who've never had a singles match, so I'm really looking forward to that down the line, and I think we got a hint at that could be the direction. For Dynasty or a TV match, but new international champion Omega versus Orange Cassidy at some point.
There's no way, with a bit of double or nothing three-way law, they end up booking a three-way with Orange, Kennedy and Takeshita in the pack spot, are they, for double or nothing 2020?
Nah, there's two pay-per-views to get to before that.
I keep forgetting about Dynasty.
Yeah.
I just like Kenny making the save. I like I include Orange Cassidy.
It didn't look like he'd had a match that hurt him badly.
No.
Which I was glad about.
I include Orange Cassidy in that cast of characters that is now wearing the war wounds of AEW, and Kenny Omega is another one of those, and dealing with the bad guys the right way. And there's history now, and they've been friends and enemies, Kenny and Orange Cassidy, but there's enough between them that, the kind of the justified, I'll help you hold off the Don Callis family. They're bad eggs, these guys.
Yeah.
I like this way more than I thought I would. And to your point, I like the very convoluted and stupid tournament.
It made a little bit more sense.
It made it, well, either way, it made me care about it.
Yeah.
Like I do, I care about it way more than I did when they brought up that series of match graphics.
Yeah.
For it. So part of that's Orange Cassidy as well.
Yeah.
I genuinely felt better with him back.
Yeah, forgot how good he was. Sorry for that dismal recap of the main event. I'm not very good at remembering things. I'm not very good at reading my own notes, apparently. There was a lot going on in this match. Thank you very much. I distinctly remember just thinking this is some thrilling counter wrestling in the main event that I earnestly enjoyed. If you enjoyed Dynamite or hated it, would like to know either way, you can do so in the comments below or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Whilst you're there, follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow me at Sidgwick. Earlier today, we recorded something that you're going to get your grubby mitts on Sunday. Sorry, I hated the way I said that. Grubby mitts. That sounded like a proper YouTuber dickhead thing to say.
Grubby mitts, Max.
God, I'm sorry about that. I'll never say anything like that again if I can't help it. As you can tell, intros are my thing. Outros aren't. Subscribe to us, because if you've made it this far, you must have made a connection. See you later.